Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Formula One podcast, straight to the apex. Join Mark, James and Tony talking more Formula One. If you are enjoying the Formula One podcast, and you know a Formula One fan, why don't you slide this podcast in their direction? Or, alternatively, you could just like, share, subscribe and comment. All of those things help this podcast get noticed by other people, and that's the idea. You can also leave us a review, leave these guys a review. Let everybody know what you think is the best thing about this podcast, and that also helps the podcast. Anyway, enough from me. Let's start hearing from these guys. So here we go. This is CookieCast, straight to the apex.
Meeting is being recorded.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode 16 of Straight to the Apex podcast. I will go first with someone that's stuffing his face on the mic, my co-host Tony Rawson.
Hey.
He does speak. And to my left, my other co-host, who is professional as ever and not eating during the podcast, Mr. James Stainforth.
Hello, hello.
Evening, are we all right? Have we recovered from the weekend antics?
Yeah.
Just.
You, Tony?
Just.
Yeah.
Do you ever want to see a can of Red Stripe again?
Never. Never again. Absolutely never again. Definitely not the Jägermeister. Definitely.
I meant to say the other night, when we was playing it, I was stood there thinking, we're 40 years old. Should we even be playing beer pong right now? But
hey, we're 39, James. We're not the 4-0 yet. We're not there yet. But
definitely got to do that one again.
We are the champions of beer pong. Room 921.
Undefeated.
Was it 921? 921 was undefeated. Well, whatever number it was. We was undefeated. The dream team of beer pong. Thank you very much. Tony knew would be competitive. We was the Max Verstappens of the beer pong table that night. We made it look easy.
I just liked it when Tony said, was it on Sunday you told us, Tony, when you actually went to like Scott and Adam and just went, look, these guys will get really competitive. You might just want to stop now.
I gave him a pep talk. I gave him a little pep talk.
Well, this time kind of thought the way that I was doing it as well. I was like, oh, if you do it like James, you just get a load of height. And you just come like, yeah.
Yeah. That was my technique. Mark got it to a T, to be honest.
I was shocked, you know. I did have an injury, though, you know. I did hurt my little finger.
Oh. Self-inflicted, though.
So, obviously, none of us watched the race live. Have we caught up with qualifying and the race since?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the race, yeah.
Didn't really miss much.
Qualifying, but yeah, you're right, Tony. It was
yes.
a bit underwhelming.
Looking boring.
I mean, qualifying was delayed because of a crash in the support race. I think it was the Porsche supercars that hit a barrier that they shouldn't have hit, so there was a late start to qualifying. But I mean, yeah, it was a bit crap, wasn't it? It was a bit boring. It was a bit mixed up. We had lots and lots of penalties. Yeah, there's not really much to talk about, but we'll start with it. So qualifying.
So we'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week, everyone, for the Dutch Grand Prix, the Orange Army. So qualifying, the actual, final results in Q3 were Verstappen, Sainz, Perez, Leclerc, Ocon, Alonso, Hamilton, Russell, Albon, Norris, and I will go down to number 14 for a very good reason. 11th was Ricciardo, 12th Gasly, 13th Stroll, and 14th Vettel. That's how they finished on Saturday. Verstappen then dropped to 15th, Leclerc dropped to 16th, Ocon dropped to 17th, Norris dropped to 18th.
Ridiculous.
Take a big breath. So after them, Zhou Guan Yu and Schumacher both had grid penalties that required start from the back of the grid for engine and gearbox elements, as did Verstappen, Ocon, Norris, Leclerc. Bottas was penalised 30 grid places for the same thing, and Tsunoda had to start from the pit lane after the car was worked on whilst under part fair conditions and extra engine parts were used. It would have probably been quicker to say who didn't have engine penalties on Saturday. It turned into a bit of a farce, but yet still, Ferrari fucked it up.
All I'm going to say about it is I just found it interesting how both the AlphaTauris both ended up having to make last-minute changes and have to go into the grid.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with the Red Bull sister club. That might just help Max out a little bit. But
No, of course not. No. I mean, I literally think Max had a wedge on his car on Sunday because I think everybody moved over for him. I mean, we'll talk about the race in a little bit, but he literally, it was like the sea parted for him, wasn't it?
Yep.
Oh,
Ridiculous.
we don't want to fight Max, so we'll let him through. But qualifying. So Sainz was 7/10 off Max's lap in Q3. Plus he had a draft from Leclerc that Ferrari sent out on brand new tyres to draft Sainz when they really should have just used a used set, and they ended up. Leclerc actually noticed it on the radio. I don't know if you saw it, James. Yeah, and he was like,
what are these? What are these tyres?
Why have I got brand new tyres on? They're really shiny. Oh yeah, we've made an error. So yeah,
My bad.
7/10. I mean, Max had a new engine. Ferrari didn't. It's a big gap in it. It's a big gap. What did you guys think?
I think there's something special on that Red Bull.
Something special? What do you mean?
I think they're.
Through,
I just think he smashed the qualifying. I just think there's something a bit special on there that nobody else really knows about.
Something illegal?
I don't think it's illegal, but I think there's something that they've got that the rest don't have. Or they've done something to the car, whether it be something new, hybrid, or something to do with the carbon fibre, that is just giving them a massive edge against everybody else. Like, because they just obliterated it both days.
Well, yeah, it's like you just said, wasn't it, Matt? I mean, 7/10 in quali, and then race day, it was like muds in the Red Sea, just straight down the middle. And I mean, don't get me wrong, the beginning. I know we're not touching on the race yet, but the beginning of the stuff that happened at the beginning of the race helped massively. But it was inevitable what happened.
We say there's something on the Red Bull, but why is it only on Max's, not Perez's car? Because Perez didn't have the speed Max had on Saturday or Sunday, did he? There was I think Max was something like 12 kph faster than anybody around him, barring the Williams, because they'd made that car real slippy, the Williams. But Max was just I mean, considering Perez started, second on the grid? I know he got a crap start, but for Max to come through from 15th, and like I say, on Saturday, Sainz was 7/10 behind. I don't actually know how far Perez was behind Sainz, but it's the same car. Max seems to be doing this to every teammate. Is it the car's designed for Max, or is Max that good?
I've said it for years. I've said it a few times on the podcast, and I've said it for years anyway. The issue is really with Red Bull, and it's why drivers like Gasly and Albon and everybody else struggle with it. The car's built for Max. Everything about that car is Max.
Yeah, I think it's quite unfair for a teammate of Max in it at the minute, because that car, I think Adrian Newey has been waiting for a driver like Max since Vettel, because we talked about Vettel last week. He dominated in a Red Bull that had a double diffuser that was like no one else on the grid, and Vettel could drive that car because it was easy to drive. He won 4 championships back to back to back to back. Max, it seems that he's in another era of Red Bull domination because the team is slick behind the scenes. We're not massive fans of Christian Horner on this podcast, but he runs a bloody good team. He's a good team boss. The strategies are right. The pit stops are quick. They make the right calls. They make the right design tweaks. There's rumours that Honda are actually going to come back in as an engine supplier and put the name back to it because of the way it's going, the way they're dominating. They've actually got on top of this engine now. It's powerful. How many times in the past did we hear Red Bull say, we haven't got top speed, we haven't got top speed?
Yeah.
I think you're right, James. I think Max, the car is definitely designed for Max, his driving style and everything. But I think you've got to be a good driver to drive it. Is this the start of Max, us thinking he's going to dominate and be a Vettel and get back-to-back titles?
Well, that is exactly what I was thinking before coming on the podcast. I mean, we did one last week about Vettel, and we reeled off all these wins and his poles consecutively, all his championships with Red Bull, and it just feels like we're looking at a very, very similar story already in this season with Max. Love him or hate him, say what you want about last season and that last race. You can't deny that this season he is driving like a champion and he's driving like a consistent, consecutive champion. And you can't deny that by what he's doing. But just something this weekend, it just felt a bit too easy for him. Just felt a bit too easy. Coming from 14th all the way to first.
Took the words right out of my mouth there, mate. I was going to say the exact same kind of thing. Everyone's got their opinions of last year and stuff like that. You look at the points difference between, 1 and 2 now in the championship. It's pretty much just got it in the bag now.
Yeah.
But at least now, it can turn around and say, despite what everyone's opinions are, whether it was a controversial win or anything else like that last year, I've done this myself this year.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I think that title last year has matured him as a driver because he still has his outbursts on the radio, but he's picking his battles. And I know we said that a lot of people let him through, but it doesn't seem as aggressive this year. And I don't know if that's because it don't have to be, because it's so dominant. Maybe he doesn't have to be.
Yeah, I you know what? I'll give you that. Yeah, at first when he was like, "Oh, he's matured," I was studying thinking, "Still a dick." But you're right. He's still got them. In fact, in fairness, most of his outbursts on the radio now are really bad. And, shouting at the engineers and stuff like that. But yeah, you're right. On the track, he's not as aggressive as, and I don't know if that's just because he's generally in first, so he's not got anyone to have to really fight against. But no, you're probably right.
Strange, isn't it? It's a really strange year because obviously Mercedes are nowhere. They're out of it. I think everyone's out of it. I think it is a battle for second now. I think because Ferrari have imploded again. Like they've given so much away. Red Bull, like I say, they're such a slick operation. They've just come in this season. They've got the car right. Newey's got the design right with his team. He's gone. Like 80 whatever points it is now in the championship. 8 races to go. The Dutch Grand Prix next. He's going to win that, let's be honest. He's a double world champion. Unless a massive massive catastrophe, and his engine blows up every race. But I can't see it. So
Nope.
So Q1, it was the usual suspects knocked out. So Vettel, Latifi, Magnussen, Tsunoda, and Bottas. Q2 was Ricciardo, Gasly, Zhou Guanyu, Stroll, and Schumacher. So, should we do the race or the news next?
Let's go news.
Should we go news?
Yeah.
News.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
News.
Right. What news have you got?
Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm touchy on this.
You took
You
me.
dare.
We recorded a really good podcast last week. Really good podcast. Did it on the Tuesday night. Had a nice little debate about Daniel Ricciardo and everything else, and going, probably won't go. No, he's probably going to stay. Blah, 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 blah. McLaren probably don't really want to have to be paying 3 drivers' salaries and stuff like that because they'd have to buy him out of his contract. And yada bullshit, yada. And literally, 12 hours later, I'm sat at work, my phone starts blinging away, and I look at it, and there it is. Daniel Ricciardo announces he's leaving McLaren at the end of it. It's like, you dick.
He must have listened and then gone, I'll show him.
Yeah. I think like, oh yeah, really? Yeah, fuck you. Well, you know what? Yeah. I hope Andy listens to these. I really do. Just so I can apologise again for having to message him late on the Wednesday night going, mate, I'm really sorry. Can you do something really quickly? Literally 5 minutes before he's about to go and put it on Spotify and everything. He's like,
Yeah.
I've just coded it. I was like, I know, I'm really sorry.
I know. Thank you. Thanks, Andy, for that.
Yeah.
We'll blame Daniel Ricciardo.
Thanks for that, buddy.
Yeah, we'll send an invoice to Daniel Ricciardo for your time that we waited.
But yeah, in all honesty though, yeah, Ricciardo actually dropping that bombshell.
It was a bit of an odd.
Kind of saw it coming, but at the same time, you didn't. I don't know.
Is the wording of the announcement was really weird because he said in his video, like since Vettel, they all seem to be doing these 1-to-1 heart-to-hearts on social media, don't they, to give these big announcements. But the wording was really weird for me. It all started with mutual. It was mutual between me and the team. It wasn't working. And then right near the end of it, he said something like, and the team decided to move on.
Yeah.
So was it mutual? Was it the team saying bye-bye? Was it Lando, as Tony's favourite driver on the grid, as he pushed him out?
No, I think it was a bit of everything. And I think the way he worded it, reading between the lines, it was Zach Brown is not happy with my performances. They don't want me to continue, but I'm a nice guy. I've been here a while. Let's make a deal. Okay, let's come to this deal. Let's come to an agreement. Let's go mutual consent. Cool. That's how it's gone. It's just so unfortunate our podcast went out literally hours before it was said. And also 3 of our big brains didn't come to that conclusion, which is again a massive shame. But I think, move on to better ground. I think he'll stay in F1. I think he'll drive for somebody else. That was my next question. Who do you think he'll go to? Because there's quite a lot of movement on the driver market, which it's a bit odd. Schumacher's Ferrari contract ends this year, so his tie with Ferrari which means he won't be in the Haas. So there's a seat going at Haas. Audi are obviously taking over Alfa Romeo. That was the other big news, broke straight after our podcast. So will Alfa make a change? Will they want a lead driver in the car? You've got Alpine have got a seat, and possibly Toro Rosso or AlphaTauri as they're known now.
So where will Daniel Ricciardo end up, James? What do you think? Just straight off the bat, what? I mean, we obviously got it so right last week, calling that it's State McLaren. So
Go on, James. Go
what
on.
do you think?
I did originally think Alpine.
Tony?
Yeah.
I'll go with a bit of a random one then. AlphaTauri.
Interesting.
What do you think, Mark?
I think it all depends on the independent board review today, the CRB.
I knew you'd bring that up.
Contract recognition board with Piastri's contract. I think it'll all depend on that.
Yeah, I think it'll be like a bit of a chess game, won't it?
Yeah, I think certain pieces will go.
Or Kaplunk. Because the simple-minded more people may remember. What a
hand
game.
on heart now, I agree with James. I think he'll go to Alpine.
Yeah.
It didn't end very well there.
AlphaTauri is interesting.
Yeah.
You know, that almost kind of full circle, going back to a Red Bull kind of team, but
would they have? It's a young driver program, so would they have an old Red Bull driver?
If they did, it'd only be to train up the young driver, the test driver. I mean,
Horner's come out. Horner's come out today and said, he's spoke to Daniel a little bit, and he's like a different man. He's broken. His confidence has gone.
He's shot.
He doesn't recognise him.
So is that, like you say, they feel sorry for him? They like Daniel Ricciardo, get his confidence back. A bit like with Gasly. I mean, stranger things have happened. But, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. If Piastri doesn't go to McLaren, who will fill that seat?
Oh, yeah. Wow. That's mega. No idea. Well,
no. Because there is another Aussie, isn't there? Is it Jack Doohan? So he's currently floating around the paddock. I mean, like I say, Schumacher's ties with Ferrari are up, but apparently Haas might put Giovinazzi in the car.
But then
he's been floating around again, hasn't he?
Yeah, because he's Ferrari reserve driver, isn't he? And I mean, he didn't do much at Alfa Romeo, really. You know, like I say, but although it ain't going to be Alfa Romeo, it's going to be Audi. Are they really going to want Ferrari drivers in that car? No. Though I think they might want a German driver. But I don't know who. Schumacher.
That'd be amazing. I don't know. The imagination there. Jesus. I don't know.
It's exciting. Ocon wants Schumacher because apparently the best mates are out. So Ocon wants Schumacher at Alpine. But Alpine want Gasly because they want an all-French driver lineup. But shock horror, Ocon and Gasly don't get on. I mean, it's quite shock with Ocon, isn't it? I mean, he gets on with everybody in the paddock. Which apparently that goes back to his karting days. So that's quite a long feud.
Jesus Christ. He's just so gangly, isn't he? Just so long-limbed. How the hell does he fit in that car? I just don't understand
it. He drives it like a Flintstones. He just pedals at the bottom.
His feet. When they took the nose off, his feet must be there. Like...
Yeah, he's 2 feet at the end.
What do you think? Do you think they've had to like shave some of his leg down so that his calves and his like shin bones get really thin and suit the shape of the car? Is that what you're saying?
His knees are out. I don't think it's his feet, James. I think his fucking knees are out. His feet go into the cone like that.
Well, no, they've broke his ankles so that they splay out into the wing like a penguin. Yeah.
Maybe he drives it the other way around. Maybe
maybe.
like
a raggy doll. Maybe his face faces one way and his body faces the other, like a raggy doll, which you probably won't remember, Tony.
like a super bike. Fucking knock on. Anyway,
so any other news?
Not that I can think of.
There was an announcement about Spa.
It's staying.
That's staying in the calendar next year.
Staying for another year, which is good.
Nice
Obviously,
to see you.
the prestigious track.
Oh, you beat me to it. You beat me to it. It's nice to see a prestigious track being on the next calendar.
Well, I had to beat Team Sport, Tony, somehow. Shout out to Team Sport.
What's really annoying is the amount of times we was using the word prestigious over the weekend and stuff like that, and I completely forgot about it tonight.
No!
But did you watch the race yesterday, probably, looking for the word of the race that apparently Martin Brundle always says? Because I did, and I couldn't not listen intently every time Martin Brundle opened his mouth. And he didn't say it.
I don't remember him saying it.
I did try and watch it Sunday.
Spot Tony's making it up.
Honestly, it's going to say it again. It probably won't now.
He'll
never say it for the rest of the season, will he? And Tony,
there'll be no purchase on them tyres for the rest of the season, will they?
Everyone that listens to the podcast, listen out for purchase. And when he says it, I want you to comment, like, DM the page, DM every social media straight to the Apex page when you hear it.
This is Martin.
We'll say it.
This is Martin Brundle, innit? So,
Martin Brundle.
Yeah.
Purchase of the tyre. You'll hear it. He'll do it. There's some more tracks left. He will definitely do it. Definitely do it.
We had a crofty switcheroo. He said that on Sunday.
Oh. We need like a game. We need to like create like a
we'll have to create,
game. Like an F1 bingo.
F1 bingo, yeah.
Right round the outside, old switcheroo. Purchase of the tyres will never come up.
Prestigious track.
yeah. What else? Alonso with I need more power. Anyone in Mercedes saying, I don't think these tyres will hold.
Pessimistic Mercedes comment.
Max kicking off about something on his car not working.
The DRS.
Yeah.
Max swearing. Crash.
Ferrari drivers.
Plan B. Plan B Ferrari.
We've got to Plan G.
Oh, I'm going to say Plan G.
Yeah.
I don't
Was
know.
it Lando Norris that got to Plan G?
Yeah.
McLaren, don't start with these tricks,
Plan G.
McLaren.
They said that they didn't have. I think they said they didn't have time to get to Plan G or something, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they were still going through the alphabet, and then it had finished 44 laps later.
Jesus Christ!
And Ferrari drivers moaning about something wrong in the strategy. That'll be on the game as well, obviously.
Well, at least they noticed.
Well, yeah. To be fair.
The guy we fucked up. Yeah, but we know about it this time.
Yeah, we know. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Any other news from you, James?
Not that I can think of. No. Should there be?
Maybe. Why? What you got?
I don't know now. I'm trying to think.
I don't think I've got anything else. Obviously, there could be an announcement soon about another engine supplier entering F1, but then Porsche. But then with Honda having a bit of a U-turn, I don't see where Porsche would fit in.
Money talks. I'm sure we'll see Porsche.
You think?
Yes.
Yeah, you kind of threw me off when you mentioned Honda engines coming back. So I knew about the rumours about Porsche, and obviously Audi coming into the F1 in 2026.
Yeah.
Breaking news. This is going to happen. Oh, great. When? Yeah, in about 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what do you while we're on that
subject?
while you're on that subject, what do you think of Audi coming in? Never been in the sport, to my knowledge. You know, what do you think? Why do you think
I
they're
like
coming in
it.
now?
Bring more teams in.
Quality.
Let's get 22 cars on the track again.
Mm.
Or 24, whatever. Let's bring more teams and bring a bit. Yeah, a bit more drama, a bit more competition.
More technology.
Yeah.
They've obviously seen something they like and want to pursue to come into the sport at this time. And like they've said, they're going to take over a current team, but start a new team. You've got the guys and girls out there that have probably cost cutting. They're probably out of a job. Like you say, get 22 cars back on the grid.
Well, maybe them start.
It's easily said than done because, Christ, the cost to start and then maintain and run an F1 team, it ain't cheap in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, it'd be good to see another 22 drivers again.
I mean, they're coming in. They've started early because they're coming in 2026.
Yeah.
A lot can change. Somebody somewhere could announce something. We're dropping out. They could change some rules. They could bring more teams, more people, more companies might come to the fray.
Well, Met keep threatening to drop out, don't they? Mercedes Daimler keeps saying that they're going to drop. But they've said that for years. But yeah. No. So, anything else before we take a quick break and then talk about the race and the most boring predictions we've ever done, because we all got the same amount of points for a certain someone winning the race?
Last thing about the
who's going to get points?
Pastari, the Pastari gift that keeps on giving.
Who's Pastari?
Pasty. Look, it's better than calling him Pasty.
Mint pasty? Anyone?
Yeah,
he's got ginsters written all over the bloody rear wing.
Greg's.
And Cornish on the front wing.
Yeah, Greg's.
And Greg's in the middle. Cornish on the front wing.
Other great pasties are available.
Free Bentos. Have them all on there.
You see this morbidly obese driver trying to wedge him into the car everywhere. He's like, come on,
like Fat Stig, Fat American Stig. He's driving around and his overalls are white, covered in like pastry and pie juice.
When Brundle's doing the pit walk, you can just see the engine mechanics just like rubbing the sides of the car in lard, just so that they can coax him in there.
What was your point about Oscar Piastri, Tony?
Yeah, sorry.
Supposedly, he agreed something with Alpine, and then they've changed the goalposts. So that's why all the communication and everything broke down, and that's supposedly why he then put his status up.
Yeah,
because there was a bit that agreed to something. They agreed to say like, "Oh, these are the terms. We'll sign you." And then when it came to it, it was like it was different, and he felt really unfairly done by. So, hence he put out the status.
Well, apparently
that was all on tower.
They were putting him in his contract. It said something. They was talking at weekend, weren't they, about it? And they said in his contract it said something about putting him in an F1 car that wasn't the Alpine next year. And then all of a sudden the goalpost changed and they were putting him in the Alpine, and he was like, "No, I don't want to." But you're an Alpine driver, and they're putting you in the main team. Something somewhere has gone wrong, or like you say, McLaren's offered him more money. There's something I think that's not in the public domain yet, because you're a young driver that's getting your F1 seat, and you've actually turned around and gone, "Nah."
But was he unfairly treated? I think if you listen to one of the F1 YouTube channel, they've got they do like a video review of the weekend, and they were speaking to one of his friends in F3, And the big reason was Alpine changed the contract, which made it quite unfair for him. And there's things behind the scene that we don't know that's not in the public domain, but I'm sure the board will sort it all out and get it straight. But his friend was saying on this podcast that it was unfair, and a lot of his friends sided with him, saying that he's done the right thing. It's not fair that Alpine have changed the goalposts right at the last minute and took advantage of him because he's a junior.
Did they offer him only 5 million more instead of 10? You know, my heart bleeds.
Something like that. Something like that.
Yeah, well,
that's what it all boils down to at the end of the day, isn't it? Money.
Oh, it's money. Yeah, of course it is. He wants a house in Monaco, doesn't he? So, like the rest of them. So, yeah, it's definitely down to money at some point.
So they've obviously tried to shortchange him by saying you're a June, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
We'll find out. It was at the CRB today, so I'm sure in the next week or two we'll find out some more news.
Or tomorrow, in a few hours.
Well,
straight after this podcast.
Probably when we press stop record on this podcast, it'll come out. So we'll take a break there. We'll be back in the second half for the race. I mean, full of points for the race. It was such a fantastic race, I'm sure you both agree.
Yeah, I got 2/3 of a page.
Incredible.
Yeah. So, right, see you on the other side.
See ya.
This meeting is being recorded.
Welcome to the second part of the Straight to the Apex podcast. Still joined by my co-hosts James Stainforth and Tony Rawson, who's now not eating his tea, thank God. So, the race.
Before we go on to the race,
Okay.
I want to change my guess for where Ricardo is going to go.
What's Beth told you?
No.
Or what have you seen on the news?
I think he's going to go to Haas.
Haas?
Yeah.
I've already found out he's just announced it or something. And you're just
Yeah.
You're doing another, oh yeah, I'm not cheating, honest.
Is this breaking news that you've just seen the announcement?
No. This is me making a very educated guess.
Right, okay then. I don't believe you because you normally do cheat, but hey ho. So, Sunday's race. I mean, it was no shock to see Max Verstappen win, even from 15th. Like I say, everyone partied like the Red Sea. I think he was up to 8th after lap 1. Second was Perez, third Sainz, fourth for chasing Russell, which we'll speak about later. Fifth, Alonso, sixth Leclerc, seventh Ocon, eighth Vettel, ninth Gasly, and number 10, I think he held off about 5 cars, was Mr. Alex Albon. So it was a crap start by Perez, good start by Alonso, good start by Hamilton, and then it went to shit.
Terrible.
What do you think to the crash?
I was on the edge of my seat.
What I thought of it.
Go on, James. Go on, James. You go first.
Well, I'm going to say you could ask Tony Skyremote what he thought of the crash. I mean, you know, I think Tony Skyremote actually hit the wall harder than bloody Max Verstappen did in bloody Silverstone last year. But Beth just sent us a picture of just a remote on the floor, the back of it somewhere else, and the battery over there. And she went, race is going well. I was like, yeah, I know, yeah. But yeah, Perez had a shitter, didn't he?
Awful.
Absolute shitter, that. I mean, not that I'm complaining much, but...
No. But then the Lewis and Alonso crash played straight into
Lewis,
his hands,
Alonso,
didn't it?
Russell, they all just flew by, and then... Yeah, Hammy just got too eager. He really did. He tried to do it all there and then. I mean, I don't know if Toto had a word with him beforehand or something, because obviously his quality wasn't great. And the only reason he started in the position he started was because of all the penalties from all the other drivers. But Yeah, it just seemed like he went out there and feeling like he had too much to prove, and he just overdid it.
What do you think, Tone?
Yeah, in the heat of the moment, I just got carried away, and I remember Hamilton coming around the outside, and I was screaming at the telly, "Don't you fucking dare, Ocon! Don't you fucking dare!" And then
It was Alonso.
I know.
Yeah, all right. Oh, God.
I know. And then he upended, and I just lobbed the remote to the floor and thought, fuck this royally. And then it's Alonso. I was like, oh, fuck's sake. And then he just, that was it. Race over. It was just dropping on the left side of the screen. And I just thought, fuck's sake, what a shit start to the fucking race.
He admitted he was at fault. He said he was in Alonso was in his blind spot. He said, I literally didn't see him. You can't see out the cars. I totally agree with you, James, in the fact that he qualified so low. I think he was trying to make up too much. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
He had 40 odd laps to make that overtake. He didn't have to do it in the first 4 corners.
No.
Yeah.
But he admitted it, you know, he said he couldn't see Alonso. Yeah. But I mean, he should have known he was there in the sense that he'd just gone around the outside of him. But you don't know, it's in your blind spot. What I didn't like was Alonso's comment on the radio straight after. I know it's in the heat of the moment, but what an idiot. He only knows how to drive and start in first. What a stupid comment. And then the hand gesture on the second lap as he went by him. Like, fuck off.
I didn't see that.
Oh, didn't you? He drove as Hamilton was on the edge of the road, obviously broken down. The next lap that Alonso come round, he was wagging his finger out like that, like mentally. And like I say, I know it's in the heat of the moment, but
on the road, fucking Latifi's out there somewhere. Jesus.
But the idiot only knows how to drive and start in first. Does he actually watch Formula One? Because that's a nothing comment. And he hadn't backed down even after the race. And like Hamilton, the interview with Hamilton, he was like,
"Oh, he's done it before."
Yeah, and Hamilton said, "I was going to go apologise to him, but after I heard what he said, if that's what he thinks of me, I won't bother."
Yeah, I agree. I
get people saying it's like, oh, you know, it's heat of the moment and stuff like that. But the fact, like you said, he's backed it up after the race, going, oh yeah, he's done it before, blah 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 blah. You then start to think you really need to calm down, because you know it was only the other week you were saying that he was a legend and it was an honour to drive with him and stuff like that. So which statement do you stick with?
Yeah.
But you know what, say what you want, mate. But he's a 7-time world champion, and he won it always driving first. So.
And you won it twice, mate. And like Alonso is a moody teenager. Right? I saw the interview about why he's left Alpine. Like, he's such a baby. But I just thought it was a shit comment. Like, your drivers are your peers, they're the same. You kind of, if mistakes happen, fair enough. If they happen all the time, I get that comment. But Hamilton very rarely crashes. And just to spout that type of shit off, I just thought it made me think Alonso, I'm not a massive fan of his. And I can, pound for pound, he's the best driver. But it's his attitude. I think his actual personality and attitude is awful. He's the most selfish prick. And I know they're all selfish, but he's the most selfish, self-centered prick on the grid.
I think he just showed his true colours there, didn't he?
Yeah, he probably did. Yeah, that's probably like the other week, like you just said, James, about him saying a legend and that. Probably don't think that was just for the cameras.
Yeah, exactly. I think, that's exactly it. And I completely agree with James. James made a really good point. At the time, I tried to sympathise with him and say, well, yeah, there's contact here at the moment. But then after the fact, I was just like, there was no real need to say that.
No.
Like that's come from somewhere else. That like That's not nice.
No.
I know Hamilton didn't want to hear what he said at first, did he? It was halfway through the race when there was having a bit of an interview with him, which is obviously when he was saying, it's my fault. I know I'd overtook him. He was in my blind spot. I couldn't see him. Blah blah blah. And then when she started saying, well, obviously, Alonso made his comments on the radio, and as soon as she started saying it, he just went, it don't matter what he said.
No.
Yeah.
He wasn't interested, was he?
Not really, yeah. The guy was dejected anyway. No one goes out in a bloody F1 car thinking, I'm going to go off in 4 corners and just finish it there. And you could see it on the second lap when they're all going around, and he's just got out the car and he's just stood there dejected.
Oh, fantastic camera angles.
Yeah,
that one of him walking away. That was just.
Should
I
be
thought that was awful. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like on a mountaintop, him walking into the distance. They followed him for a bit and then stood
it's like
still.
watching a Western kind of thing, wasn't it?
It was. I
And he
expected
never
him to turn
came
around and do it like pew pew to the screen or something. Like, it was god awful. It was god awful. But
happily ever after.
he got fined, didn't he, Hamilton, because he set off the medical light and he didn't go to the medical centre.
Really?
Oh yeah.
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 I didn't know.
Yeah, apparently it hit the ground that hard. It set off the medical light and they have to go to the medical centre, and he was like, I'm fine. I don't want to. Like I say, he was dejected. He sounded a broken man on the interviews after, because I think he knows this car is a dog and it's not going to get any quicker anytime soon. They've got to scrap it and start again next year.
I don't know. No, I think they're there, and they're always going to be behind. They're getting quicker, but they're always going to be second.
They were 1.8 seconds off a lap.
Yeah, they're always going to be third
quicker.
fiddle, second or third fiddle, because the rest are getting quicker. So
Red Bull have got a lighter chassis coming. Ferrari, for all the problems, are still ahead. Merc are good in race pace. They're great in race pace. I don't know why, but qualifying, that car is draggy. It's heavy. It looks like an old Williams. Doesn't it?
not good.
No. So a couple of corners after Hamilton and Alonso, our friend of the podcast, Latifi, crashed, which I don't know if he hit Bottas or if Bottas avoided him.
Bottas avoided him, didn't he? He didn't
Bottas avoided him.
Yeah, and
And
then stuck in the gravel.
I think did he have a clash with Ocon or something? I can't remember. Either way, Latifi spun off in the gravel, didn't he? And as he was getting back on, Bottas had to bloody swerve.
Yeah.
And that was it, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Legend.
Leclerc was obviously, we just said Max got up to like 8th within the first. He made up 8 places, on lap 1. He was up to P3 by lap 8. And Perez dropped to 5th from the start. Leclerc was following Verstappen a little bit, and then he got Max's visor strip tear off stuck in his brake duct.
I was going to say, I made a note of that about lap 4 or something. He's going, I can see smoke, and you're like, oh God, here we go. That's it, Ferrari are done. And yeah, they just went, oh yeah, it's a tear off in the brake. We got it out when he came in.
It never rains, but it pours for Ferrari, doesn't it? I mean, how many times do you see the drivers put them out, and like say Max, put it out and it goes and lodges directly in Leclerc's brake duct? It's just so slow.
Mario Kart, innit?
Yeah, he's throwing one of his bombs out.
Yeah, I got a little bit excited in lap 10 when both Leclerc and Max had both turned around and said, I've got high tyre deg. And granted, they both had soft ones and stuff like that, but it's like, that's interesting. It's a bit weird starting on. I can understand it for Max, really, but I don't know, starting on soft on a track that's not really evolved much yet. I don't know.
No, because we had quite a rainy Friday. It was cool Saturday, and like Sunday was baking heat, and they know them softs don't last long. But I think Ferrari are just scared of the hards after the other race, aren't they? They won't go anywhere near them tyres.
To be honest, I was more surprised when Ferrari double stacked.
Well,
in the
yeah.
pit stop.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh yeah, they're both coming in." I was like, "God, really? Are you really going to do that?"
Felt brave, didn't they? Felt really
Yeah.
brave. Yeah, so really, not a great deal happened in the race, did it? Barring,
This is about the time where I fell asleep, to be honest.
I mean, that's a shock.
I think I had Ferrari plan B around, was it 15, 16 lap?
Well,
And I just thought, fuck this, I'm off. See you later. Good night.
there was a lot of calls. Ferrari do not know how to make a decision. There was a lot of calls to Leclerc saying, question, what do you think to the tyres? Question, do you want to do this? You've got the strategy. You can see the full thing off the track.
Yeah, but that's going to be on the back of the other week when they changed his tyres, and he said, "I didn't want to change my tyres. I had a good lap time." So now they're probably thinking maybe we should speak to him. Only other notes I've really, I mean, obviously there's Leclerc towards the end when another stupid Ferrari strategy that just didn't pay off.
No.
So Max passed Perez and got a 3-second lead on him. Perez was on mediums and Max was on an old set of softs. That's just how fast Max was that day on a shitty old pair of tyres. About 14, 15 laps in, just before he went in for the pit, he gets past Perez and generates a 3-second lead.
Because it was on the radio, I wanted moaning. You've just reminded me saying, Perez is holding me up now. Get him out the way.
Yeah, he's taking time.
And like you say, how is that the same car? Like I say, Max was in a class of 1 on Sunday. To go from 15th to winning by 18 seconds, you've just made a real good point there. On the same bit of track, he got a 3-second lead on older tyres that weren't lasting very long. Scary, isn't it? You touched on it. Leclerc making the pit stop for the fastest lap, coming out behind Alonso, but he then passed him. Obviously, didn't get the fastest lap because he was overtaken, and then he got slapped with a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He was 1 mile an hour over the limit. What a Ferrari doing? I mean, we say
Is that it was 1 mile an hour as well?
Yeah, 1 mile an hour. That's why he didn't get a stop-go penalty like you normally would for speeding in the pit lane, because it was 1 mile an hour over. That I think there's like a tolerance in there, but it was still a 5-second penalty. I feel like we say this every week. What are they doing? What are they doing?
They'll never learn. They'll never learn.
Taking that 1 point away from someone now is not going to make any difference whatsoever. I just don't. I don't really understand it. I mean, it was risky anyway, and like you said, he went in there in 5th, got the tyres slapped on, comes out, Alonso overtakes him. He's like, well, all you've done then is lost a space. Granted, he got it back. He got back in 5th before he went by the checkered flag and whatnot, but they never made the bloody fastest lap. And then, like you said, the turn went, "Oh, you were speeding in the pit lane. Oh, there's a 5-second penalty there." He's like, "Oh,
back a go." Like, yeah. I mean, I don't know the points difference between 5th and 6th. Charlie will probably know because she calls us out on this, that we should know. But like you say, all that gain for what you think is, go get the fastest lap. You've said all race a pit stop was what, a 19-second loss overall, and was Alonso something like 17 or 18 seconds behind. So it was borderline anyway. If you pulled a fast pit stop out the bag, they don't seem to be. And this has gone on for years. They don't seem to be making the right calls, and they are costing themselves titles, aren't they?
Yep.
They've blown titles for Vettel. They've blown title challenge this year for Leclerc.
Yep.
I mean, the Ferrari, go get Red Bull strategy team, one of them, and say, right, we're Ferrari. There's your money. You can lead that team because you lot have all make the right decisions. Build a team around you, but they don't. They're kind of, I don't know. They're stuck in some kind of rut that they can't make a decision. Leclerc, like you said, James, rules the roost now because he makes the calls from the car, doesn't he?
No. At least someone is.
Well, yeah. I mean, at least someone is. I mean, really, Leclerc should be called Ferrari driver / lead strategist because he's the only frigging one doing the job. Yeah, just every time we talk about Ferrari's inept goings on, bit off the track.
Yeah.
I'm bored of it now. I'm bored of it. Still pick them now.
Well, yeah. So, any other notes before I give you the driver standings?
I have.
Go on. Even though you fell asleep,
35.
did you dream it?
And I had to watch it back again. Fucking for my sins. Lap 35 kind of reminded me of a previous race passing that was up there with probably one of the greatest passes ever. It was Gasly in the Alpha and Ocon in the Alpine.
Yeah.
Going round Vettel on lap 35, and it was reminiscent of, let me take you back, F1 fans, to the year 2000. And it was Michael Schumacher against Mika Hakkinen. And Schumacher was leading, and they came up to a back marker, and Schumacher went round the outside. Hakkinen went round the inside and overtook Schumacher. And it was supposedly one of the most memorable overtakes ever. And yeah, it was quite reminiscent of that. I thought about that moment. I was like, interesting.
Tony's Stat, sponsored by Beth, watching and learning and knowing more than.
No,
I was going to say this isn't Tony.
Have you read your book?
No.
Adam, is that you?
No.
And there he is. Tony's still hungover and laid in bed. We've got Adam on the podcast, everybody, in disguise.
No.
It's in the corner of the hotel room.
Let's not go there.
Yeah.
So yeah, apart from that, that was all it. I think this race, if you had to pick one race of this whole GP, of this whole season, to represent this season, this would be the race. Summarise the whole thing.
Not lived up.
Lot of high, prestigious track. Just drop that in there.
Yeah.
Max powers through the field. Ferrari have it in their hands. Fuck it up again. Had a little crash in there. Mercedes was slow. The rest were kind of following. And Bottas spout again. Yeah, I just think this was typical. Typical.
James, anything to add?
No, not really. I mean, if we're going to look at Spa as, it's one of my favourite tracks and stuff like that, and it's always one I normally enjoy watching. But yeah, just a little bit underwhelming, really. But
I'm glad it was only 44 laps.
Yeah, and I don't know if this was just because I was slightly tired from the night before or what, but who knows?
No. So that leaves the driver's standings with Max at 284 points, Perez second with 191, Leclerc 186, Sainz 171, Russell 170 now, so 1 point behind Sainz, and Hamilton 146. So predictions. I mean, we all went for a Max win. I wasn't
Yeah,
feeling
which
very
I thought was
confident.
on,
I wasn't feeling very confident on Saturday. I don't think any of us when we found out the qualifying result. But we all got 3 points. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all the points we got. But
I again have
okay.
a driver in the top 3, but just not in the right position.
So did I. But I didn't mention that. Do you know why? Because he was in the wrong position and you don't get any points for it.
Yeah, it don't matter.
So shut up. So to remind everyone, I went for Verstappen, Leclerc, Perez. I get Verstappen. James went for Verstappen, Hamilton, Russell. He gets Verstappen. Tony gets Verstappen, and he had Hamilton and Perez. So that leaves me and James still on 28 points. Tony a point behind on 27 with 8 races to go. And next, we don't have to wait long because it's this weekend. It's a Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort. It's 4th September, 2 p.m. start time, 72 lap race.
Ooh.
So it's a 2.6 mile track, which is 4.259 kilometers, and it's 14 corners. The Orange Army is home race. He won it last year pretty easy, to be fair.
Yeah.
From Hamilton and Bottas, I think it was. Well, so predictions. I've got mine written down. Do you want me to go first?
Go on then.
I'm going exactly the same as I predicted for this last race in Belgium. So I'm going for Verstappen, Leclerc, Perez. Tony, go for it. What has Beth predicted this week?
She hasn't given me any predictions this week.
You're on your own. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we could have Latifi, Stroll, and probably Sonoda, because he can pronounce his name better than Guangzhou, you and Pasty. So, Tony, hit us. What have you got?
I've got Max winning.
Yep.
And it's difficult. It's very difficult. My heart says one thing, but my head says another. I might go Perez second.
All right, okay. And third?
That I'm telling you who's third.
That was Beth texting in. It was, wasn't it?
Then get the fuck on with it.
That was Beth texting you her predictions because she can hear you, wasn't it? Be honest.
Yes.
Beth, you have literally been caught red-handed because that idiot left his phone on vibrate. So what does Beth say number 3? Have a look at your phone. She put Perez. So you're going to have to change it.
Can't change it. Locked in.
It was third.
Technically, I haven't gone yet.
No,
So
come
I could
on.
change it.
Come on. No, you're not. Perez is second. Who's third?
Well, I can't go Perez again. That'd be.
So who did she have down as second then?
She's gone with you, Mark. Max, Leclerc, Perez.
So you're going to have Leclerc third then. Is that what you're saying? Come on, hurry up.
I want to go with Max, Charles, Perez.
You're not having it because you've gone Perez.
Well, now I feel like I'm just gonna have to go Latifi just for sauce.
Latifi.
No, I'm joking. I'm gonna Leclerc.
You're going Leclerc. Sorry, Beth. You'll have to text in a little bit earlier next week. James.
So I've gone for Max for the win. Duh. I have gone Hamilton second.
Okay.
No, James, give it up, James. Just give it up.
No.
All right, okay.
He's got a point to prove now after this week.
Yeah, hey, yeah.
No,
he did look
stop this man. Stop this man. No, I can't believe what I'm hearing. Stop it.
Who's fair then, James?
Well, I'm sorry,
Stop it.
Tony. Did I make a decision for myself there?
I know. You know, because we can make a decision for ourselves, unlike this clown.
And I've got Perez third. I was tempted to go Perez second at first, but then I was like, nah.
Right. Predictions are locked in, Tony. Unfortunately, you've had to make choice 1 and 2 for yourself this week.
Although, you know what, for shits and gigs, let's put Beth on just for this week. What did Beth have? Max?
Same as me. Max, Leclerc, Perez. Yeah. I think if she gets it right and Tony's wrong, we deduct 10 points from him. He gets a stop-go penalty, so 10 points off him.
Ooh, I don't like the idea.
I mean, what else? What else could you penalise with? I mean,
being late every week. I mean, that's worth at least a point every week. We could get you back down to 0 by next week.
Gonna say, yeah, you're going to be in negative numbers in a minute, Tony. So you might as well just do the show now.
I think we should. I think we should add something though to it. I think we should.
What do you mean?
Like Jaeger.
It was absinthe. It was absinthe.
It was absinthe.
No, it wasn't. What do you want?
Like maybe like double, like you know, like they have in the Premier League fantasy team, where you can go like captain somebody, or you can like double points 1 week.
No. Sorry, rules are stated. So, well, you're locked in now.
Look at it for next season, though.
Well, yeah, definitely. We could look at penalties and bonuses and everything for next season. Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't stand a chance next season then.
No, we don't this season. So, right on that note, again, thanks to Andy, especially for last week and sorting us out. Obviously, hopefully, we won't have to do it this week with some announcements when we come off recording. Straight into another Grand Prix. Like I say, Holland. No rest for the wicked now after the summer break. So back-to-back races to enjoy.
Come on, Red Bull.
Oh, dear God. On that note, because, you know, he is a tool. On that note, let's thank my 2 co-hosts, Andy, CookieCast, found us on usual places. Until next week, goodbye.
See you later.
Au revoir.
So there we go. What do you think of that? Another one from the Formula One boys in the bag. If you enjoyed this podcast and you've got a Formula One fan in your vicinity, slide it their way. Or alternatively, like, share, subscribe and comment. Drop any reviews you want to drop. Get this podcast shared around, people. The people need to hear the Formula One goodness. You can also check out the website. It's thecookiecast.com. There we've got social media links and an email button. You can write to these guys, let them know what you love, what you'd change, or just tell them they're doing a great job. That's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.